You look at your results in the gym and you see a flat line. Your production has stalled. You aren't getting stronger. You aren't getting bigger. So, you blame the machinery. You think, my genetics are bad. Or, I need a better supplement. Or, I need a new workout program. You start tinkering with the machines. You try to upgrade the hardware. But this is a management failure. You are looking at the wrong end of the assembly line. Your body, the machine, is capable of producing massive output. It is designed for heavy loads. It is a high-performance unit. The problem is not the machine's capacity. The problem is that the flow of production is stopping dead before the machine ever reaches 100%. You don't have a hardware problem. You have a bottleneck. This ends today. We are going to stop acting like confused laborers and start acting like the plant manager. We are going to apply the theory of constraints to your physiology. In any factory, the total output is not determined by the fastest machine. It is determined by the slowest machine. This slowest point is the choke point, the bottleneck. If your muscles, the fast machine, can lift 300 pounds, but your mind, the slow machine, shuts down at 250 pounds due to fear or discomfort, your total output is 250. Investing in bigger muscles is useless until you fix the mind. You are just piling up inventory in front of a closed door. This protocol is a factory audit. We will identify, isolate, and widen the mental restriction that is killing your gains. It is a three-part industrial protocol. First, the theoretical capacity, the hardware reality. Second, the choke point, the central governor. Third, the flow optimization, widening the pipe. Stop blaming the equipment. Fix the flow. The first step in any factory audit is to determine theoretical capacity. What is the maximum output the machinery can handle if run at 100%? You think you know your limits. You think when you fail a rep, your muscles are physically incapable of contracting again. This is a lie. It is an illusion created by the management software. Studies on hysterical strength, where mothers lift cars off their children, prove this. Under extreme adrenaline, the human body can withstand forces that would normally tear tendons. That capacity is always there. Your bones are stronger than concrete. Your tendons are steel cables. Your muscle fibers are hydraulic pistons capable of immense force. The machinery is over-engineered. The machine is not the limit. When you are in the gym and you hit failure at 10 reps, your muscles still have 20% to 30% of fuel left in the tank. Physiologically, the ATP is there. The glycogen is there. The machine could do 5 more reps, but the power was cut. Why? Because of the safety protocols. Your brain is a conservative safety engineer. It hates risk, it hates heat. When the factory floor starts to get hot, the burn, and the alarms start ringing, the heart rate, the safety engineer pulls the plug. He shuts down the line preventatively. He stops you at 70% to save you. But you are not there to be saved. You are there to produce. Override the safety switch. You must understand this intellectual truth. Your feeling of fatigue is a suggestion, not a fact. It is a check engine light, not a blown engine. The plant manager sees the light, checks the gauges, and says, ignore it, keep running. If you believe the feeling is the limit, you will never reach true capacity. You will always stop when the safety engineer gets nervous. You must realize that the machinery can take the punishment. The body is anti-fragile. It wants the load. It is only the mind that fears it. This transfers to your career. You think you are burned out. You think you can't work any harder. That is usually false. That is your mental safety protocol trying to preserve energy for a famine that will never come. The capacity for work, for focus, for output is vast. You are operating at 40%. The moment you realize the machine can handle more, the entire game changes. Trust the hardware. You've audited the hardware. You know the machine is capable of more. Now, we must find the restriction. If you are ready to override the safety switch and maximize output, seal the order. Hit the like button. It is your authorization code to run the factory at 100%. You know the machine works, pillar 1, but the output is still low. The assembly line is moving, and then it stops. Inventory is piling up, chaos on the floor. We have found the choke point in your body. This is the central governor. This is the specific point in the set where the mental discomfort exceeds your willingness to endure. It is not muscle failure. It is mental tolerance failure. This is the bottleneck. Imagine a pipe. Your muscles are a 10-inch pipe. They can flow massive amounts of water. But your mind, your tolerance for pain, there is a 2-inch valve right in the middle of the line. It doesn't matter how big the muscle pipe is. The flow is restricted to 2 inches. You are strangling the flow. You experience this bottleneck as panic. You are under the bar, squatting. Rep 8. The legs are burning. The lungs are screaming. Suddenly, a voice in your head screams, "Rack it, now." That voice is the bottleneck. It is the choke point constricting. Most men listen to the voice, they rack the weight, they claim they hit failure. No, they hit the bottleneck. The muscles could have done rep 9 and rep 10. Those were the reps where the growth lived. Those were the high-profit units of production. But the bottleneck cut off the flow before you could get there. The profit is after the panic. The theory of constraint states, any improvement not made at the bottleneck is an illusion. If you buy better supplements, upgrading the machine, but don't fix your pain tolerance, the bottleneck, you accomplish nothing. You just have a more expensive machine waiting idle. You must identify exactly what your bottleneck is. Is it the burn, lactate tolerance? Is it the fear of the weight, neural inhibition? Is it the boredom, focus endurance? Once you name the bottleneck, you can attack it. The manager walks to the choke point and stares at it. He does not look away. When the panic starts, that is not the signal to stop. That is the signal that you have arrived at the bottleneck. That is where the work begins. Stare down the restriction. This is the separation. The amateur stops when he arrives at the bottleneck. The professional knows that the bottleneck is the only place he needs to work. He hangs out in the discomfort. He breathes into the panic. He forces the 2-inch valve to open to 2.1 inches, then 2.2. He is not training his muscles, he is machining the valve. In business, your bottleneck might be fear of rejection. You can have the best product, the machine, but if you fear the sales call, the bottleneck, you make $0. You don't need a better product. You need to widen the bottleneck. You need to make the calls until the fear dissolves. Widen the choke point. You have identified the hardware capacity. You have located the mental bottleneck. Now, the plant manager issues the new directive. Flow optimization. We are going to systematically widen the pipe. We are going to synchronize the mental capacity with the physical potential. This involves a protocol called Desensitization Training. You must expose the governor to the reality that he is wrong. The brain thinks if we do one more rep, we die. You do the rep, you do not die. The brain receives new data. Correction, rep 9 is safe. The bottleneck widens. Update the safety protocols. How do you execute this? You use the pause. When you hit the wall and when the bottleneck screams stop, you do not rack the weight. You pause at the top. You take 3 deep breaths. You reset the mental breaker, and you force one more rep. Just one. That single rep, executed after the mind said no, is the most valuable rep of your life. It is the rep that breaks the bottleneck. It proves to the foreman, your brain, that the limit was false. This is how you optimize flow. You don't need to jump from 200 to 300 pounds. You need to jump from quitting when it burns to quitting when the muscle fails. You are closing the gap between psychological failure and physiological failure. Close the gap. The ideal factory runs at 100% synchronization. This means your mind only stops when the muscle actually cannot move. When the mind says go and the body says I physically cannot, you have achieved perfect flow. You have removed the bottleneck. The mind is now as strong as the body. The valve is wide open. This is a painful process. Widening a pipe requires pressure. It requires you to stay in the red zone, that uncomfortable, shaking, burning place, for longer than you want to. But that is the cost of expansion. Pressure widens the pipe. When you achieve this, when you remove the mental choke point, your gains explode. Suddenly, the same workout produces 2x the results. Why? Because you are finally using the full capacity of the factory. You are no longer leaving 30% of the product on the line. You are shipping everything you produce. This is the ultimate state of the engineer. Unrestricted power, unrestricted flow. The hardware and the software operating in perfect unison. Maximize the throughput. This is the theory of constraints applied to the human animal. You are not weak. You are throttled. You are a Ferrari being driven with the parking brake on. 1. The capacity. Acknowledge that your hardware is capable of hysterical strength. The limit is a lie. 2. The bottleneck. Identify the mental choke point, the fear, the comfort-seeking, the panic. 3. Flow optimization. Force the valve open. Use the pause. Close the gap between mental fear and physical reality. Stop upgrading the machines. Stop buying new parts. Fix the manager. Open the valve. Let the power flow. If you are ready to take over the factory, to remove the restrictions, subscribe to this channel. This is your new management office, and for your final executive order, authorize the new production schedule. Comment below, bottleneck removed. It is your signal. The line is moving. The output is uncapped. Now, shut this off, walk onto the floor, open the valve.